I think I've been opportunistic. I
Yeah,
think that I've always looked at, even within a role, I need to be challenged. Like I need to be trying something new
yeah.
or doing something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I think in the future, definitely be looking at KTP. I think it's nuts that more people don't do them. You should look at it, Mark.
I am not going to lie that there's an agenda to me asking you these questions right now, Abby, and I'm scribbling away notes on some post-its.
Often people will get me in to talk about innovation process, and actually you find out that it's not necessarily the process, it's their culture or their strategy. I think people maybe aren't comfortable with the word innovation as well,
Do you
so I think
think?
it switches some people off, or they have preconceived ideas about what it means and think either they've cracked it or it's not relevant for them. And I think it is relevant for everybody. The discussion could go so many ways, there's so much that could be talked about. It means that people have got like a lot of information that they can take away or they can kind of filter through it, or rather than dictating what people have got to talk about. Sometimes the biggest risk is not doing anything. So just like do something, yeah, I guess related to that. Like the not over preparing, just like putting something out there and like testing it and going for it and like taking the leap. Taking the leap.
Every leader has a story to tell, and the Safe Leader podcast uncovers the diversity story behind leading figures championing change to make our world a better place. Join me, your host, Mark McBride-Wright, as we hear from business leaders, academics, entrepreneurs, and agents of change as they share their journeys of innovation, resilience, and transformation. Together, we explore how they embrace the principles of safe leadership, sharing, acting, feeling, and empowering to create safer, more inclusive environments for everyone. Hello, welcome to the next episode of the Safe Leader podcast. I'm your host, Mark McBride-Wright, and I'm joined today by Abi Hird, who is the founder and director of Defankel Innovation, an innovation consultancy guiding organizations to deliver responsible, inclusive, and profitable innovation. Drawing from a rich career across academia, advanced manufacturing, and public innovation ecosystems, Abi applies system-aware thinking to help businesses navigate complex, uncertain environments with confidence. Her work blends design-led methods, process foresight, and cultural sensitivity to create meaningful change through innovation. With experience at Innovate UK, the Design Council, and as a visiting academic at multiple UK universities, Abi is passionate about collaboration, inclusion, and embedding sustainability at the core of product and service development. Through Defankel Innovation, Abi empowers clients to de-risk innovation and foster community-centered growth, placing people, process, and purpose at the heart of transformation. Abi, welcome.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Well, it's the least I can do. You know, you kindly invited me to one of your Defankel innovation dinners in Glasgow a few months ago. So the least I could do is return the favour and get you on the Safe Leader podcast.
Yeah, it was so good to have you. It's good to have an exotic guest all the way from New York to my little dinner in Glasgow. It was brilliant to have you there, Mark. Glad you could.
Well, yeah, not so exotic given that I'm from the nicer city across on the other side of the coast in Scotland.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. That's Scottish jest for anyone who is wondering what is going on here in this present moment. Um, so I was thinking we met way before actually, when you'd set up the Fancle and I saw you at the Royal Academy. I think we crossed paths when you were at Innovate UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did, yeah. It was a while back now. Yeah, I think you ran a webinar session. I don't know if it was on the Safe Leader, but you told a bit of your story. And
Yeah, no, it would have been before that. Yeah, I think I was at the EDF Women's Leadership Summit or something at the Oval, and I had a back room and I had to, make it all fancy looking. But I was working with the basics of what I had with crap Wi-Fi and I was probably sweating, wondering I was going to get like disconnected. So tell us a bit about your background. If we go back to the young Abby, did you always want to work in manufacturing and innovation? Did you know this is where you would end up going? What did you want to do when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, definitely not here. Not that I didn't want to do this, but it definitely wasn't. I didn't even know it was a thing to be doing this.
Okay.
So, yeah, like way back, like I guess like the whole spectrum of stuff when I was a kid, like wanted to be a detective, I wanted to be a vet. And then I kind of like really wanted to be an art teacher. So I wanted to go to art school. So I applied to get into art school in Glasgow actually, and I didn't get in. And then I ended up, yeah, I didn't get into art school, and I ended up doing, I just had enough hires, like from a weird cobbled together process, which I might go into later, I don't know.
Okay.
Managed to get into a degree programme in product design engineering at what was Bell College, which doesn't even exist anymore. It was like a local like poly.
Okay.
And then so I quite like that because it was creative. I think I felt frustrated with the art school process because it was so subjective, like whether you were good enough to get in. So I felt like if I'm going to do something technical, at least it's like right or wrong, or like, do you know, there's less.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, did product design engineering. So that was like kind of technical, kind of creative a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so did 3 years at college and found out like weird stuff. Like I was actually quite good at maths. It was like a total revelation to me.
Did you
Um,
just not tapped into that whilst at school, or had you had an inner voice telling yourself that you weren't good at it, and therefore that's how you showed up in your maths classes, or what was different to your product design maths to when you were at school?
I think so. I didn't even realize this until much later, but I think I had like this inner monologue about being stupid. Like I just felt like I was stupid, like really like deeply like ingrained. Anyway, yeah, the so finished college and went to uni and did the same thing at uni, product design engineering at Strathclyde,
Yeah.
and that was like pinch myself. Like at uni, I never thought that was ever going to happen to me. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah. So
What
then,
do you what do you do in a product design degree or course, college course? Like, what do you? Because my mind straight away goes to the physicality of an object, and that's it. But obviously, it's not that. It's the whole user experience of it and how it's going to be made and show up in the world and the impact that it has and the where was this your first foray into like inclusion as well? And I always, when I hear product design, I immediately, my mind goes to like accessibility and user experience and engaging with different groups that might use your product or service. So can you just tell us a bit about how deep you went, what it involved, how it broadened your horizons?
so it's a proper kind of generalist degree. Like the
Okay.
inclusion stuff came much later. The kind of interest around that.
Intro.
So it covers like user-centered design, all those kind of design process, manufacturing methods, um, innovation management, but also like operational stuff like how to set up manufacturing, project management, and then I guess like the human side of things as well. It touched on that a little bit, like
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And
cultural aspects.
did it give you a good grounding for what you then because you've went on and then set up an innovation consultancy, so talk us through the years leading from graduating from Strathclyde through to being at finding entrepreneurship.
So, so graduated with a master's in product design engineering, and then I went on to do a doctorate. So I did a doctorate that was sponsored by this medical device company, Depew, who are like a Johnson and Johnson company based in Leeds. So I was there for 4 years, in their design office, looking at product development process and how you plan product development. So like quite an innovative business, developing lots of new products, really like market leading products for like surgery and for the implants. So learned a lot about like product development process and that kind of like scale of organization. how to plan for it, how to manage innovation, and quite a I guess what lots of what they did was kind of like industry standard, like good practice innovation
Yeah.
management, but not necessarily suitable for all types of firms or all scenarios. And then I went back to Strathclyde. When I finished that, there was redundancies in the business. They weren't like keeping people on. Went back to Strathclyde and I did a postdoc with BA Systems. So looking at the product development process for the Type 26, which is like a surface ship, and like how information is managed and how decisions are made through that process. So when you've got like all the different systems of a ship coming together, how do they use information, get the right information at the right time to make decisions in the
Yes.
right sort of way, and how do they iterate and evolve the design? So I did that for a couple of years, and then I've kind of worked across the engineering faculty looking at coordinating research, so supporting PhD students and helping with like things like MPL Scotland, so running workshops to think about what the themes were going to be around that. And
Is that NLP, the neuro linguistic programming? Is that
no,
what? No.
MPL, like the National Physical Laboratory, so the people
Oh,
that look after
NPL.
like how do you
Yeah.
measure a kilogram and like
Yeah. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I got lectured. Oh, so yeah, I was also, I think because my doctorate was in industry, like my understanding of how to do research was really like based on understanding how industry works. So I ended up having chats about what I'd done in my doctorate with other companies and landed a few KTP projects, which
Fantastic.
was good, like I guess like research, showed research income and
Yeah.
I was doing interesting stuff. So I got a lecturing position, I think mostly off the back of that, if I'm honest, just the fact of these KTP projects. One with Alexander Dennis, who makes buses, Johnson's of Elgin, who make cashmere scarves, and
Oh,
Spirit Aerosystems, who make aircraft composite
wow.
structures. So like,
Such a diverse
yeah,
portfolio of manufacturing things.
yeah, very different companies, but I loved like spending time with the businesses, understanding their challenges, these sorts of conversations, and the thought of publishing papers just like I just did not inspire me at all. And I knew like if I wanted my career to progress, I was going to have to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoyed teaching as well. That was fun, but I got to the end of my probation, 3 years probation to be a lecturer, and realised that I was either going to be here forever or
Yeah.
time to go. So I'd done like my undergrad, my doctorate, my postgrad, got a lecturing position. It was like I'm either like in with the
But you
bricks or
but
gone.
you'd also had you dabbled in industry as well. You hadn't gone up the traditional career track of academia and
Yeah.
never stepped foot in a real engineering sort of manufacturing environment. You'd actually been in that world, so you'd already sort of straddled the two sides, and I can imagine one had a stronger pull than the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I wasn't really supposed to be an academic. I was supposed to be, but I didn't really want to go and get a job in a single company either. So I
Got
went
you.
to work at Innovate UK in their manufacturing team, helping people with product development. So lots of the manufacturing team are really focused on productivity,
Uh,
helping manufacturers with like digital technology adoption, whereas I was focused on people across different sectors and technology areas that had like a hardware, like something that had to be made, like a physical product,
right.
helping them think through how to do that. So there's like different challenges and risks compared with maybe other types of innovation. So built a community around that. Realised like I loved building community. Like that's something that like gives me energy, getting people together. Um, and yeah, and then I moved into the design team and built a design innovation network, so connecting innovators, people with different technologies, different sectors with user-centered design and trying to build a bit of strategy around systems thinking, getting people to
Yes.
think more holistically about innovation and what they were doing. And then went off to have Ada, was on maternity leave for a few months, and didn't go back. Just, yeah, I kind of felt like I needed a new
A
challenge,
challenge.
something to
No.
really energise me.
As well as having a little person in your life, you needed another new challenge as well.
Yeah, I felt like if I went back into work with Ada and doing a job that I knew I could do, like, I mean,
You
there were
just
challenges
coast.
in the job, but I would
You'd have
just,
just
yeah, just coast,
coasted.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
become a
Yeah.
bit bored and like I needed something new to.
And you sound like someone who's always had the finger on the pulse of their career, making intentional strategic choices to, well, you're laughing. It's not like you've fallen from one thing into another. Like there is a story to the, well, there at least there's a convenient logic that's come up
Yeah,
through the, you can spin it in a certain way, even if you might feel it's different.
I think I've been opportunistic. I
Yeah.
think that I've always looked at even within a role, I need to be challenged. Like I need to be trying something new
Yeah.
or doing something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I think if I'm just going through the motions, yeah, I just can't. I just like there's an itch or something that I've just got to
Expanding,
pick things up again.
expanding,
Yeah.
mental expansion. Tell us a bit about Defankel then. So you set that up. I remember now you telling me this. You set that up just after after you'd had Ada, hadn't you? Or was it on your? You were thinking about it. It was percolating the idea there whilst you were on maternity leave. And how are things going? Tell us a bit about Defankel, some of the projects you've worked on, and the world that you're creating for yourself as a founder entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like I've got absolutely no regrets about making that leap. Yeah, so I actually started before I was really ready, which I think was a positive thing because I think I could have quite easily overthought everything. But so Ada was about she was I guess like she wasn't even 4 months, and I'd gone into town to have a meeting with somebody who'd promised me the possibility of work, and I thought I'm just going to go and knock on somebody else's door before I go to this other meeting and see if they happen to be in the office, more just for like a catch up. And she was like, "Oh, I'm desperate for somebody. We're like in between." Like we're recruiting somebody, but we're not quite there yet. Like, could you come and help us out 2 days a week just for 2 months? And help us with business development around KTP. So like I knew KTP inside out. It was like minimum like cognitive pressure. Like I knew what I was doing, and it just like got me going. So like because there was urgency around getting started, it gave me a bit up the backside. So like my strategy, my like maternity pay from my employer had came to an end, and I was on
Yep.
statutory maternity pay. So like I knew you were allowed to like work self-employed. So I just like went for it, did it, launched. Like I had the website kind of building in the background.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, okay, we're gonna set this date,
Let's
which
go.
was when Ada was 4 months, which feels really insanely early. But like that, I just went for it. Started 2 days a week and made the kind of announcement, and then people were just really very generous, like with like, oh, you could get involved in that, or you need to speak to this person, or um and then things just evolved. So I guess that like KTP business development stuff was not really what I'd set out to do. It was more innovation support uh, generally, but I didn't have a clear value proposition. I didn't. I mean, I think I'm only getting to that now, actually, 2.5 years in. So
It
yeah,
takes time. Takes time. What was that KTP support? So KTP's knowledge transfer program, isn't
yeah,
it?
knowledge
Yeah.
transfer partnership. So it's like a
Partnership.
partnership between industry and university. So yeah, just making the connection between the academic and the company.
Right.
And the KTP Centre is based at Strathclyde, but actually covers Strathclyde, Glasgow, the Art School, and Caledonian Universities. So you're working across different universities.
What do employers get out of it? Like what they get the resource of a student or a researcher.
Well, it's such a good program, honestly. Like, so it's like a graduate. So it could be somebody. I think they've got to have a 2-1 honours, a masters, or a PhD, and there's different salary band and support. Like support, it's for SMEs, it's 70% funded by Innovate UK.
All right. Okay.
For larger businesses, it's 50-50 funding.
Right.
But the outcomes of it are amazing. I think I don't know if it's like 14 to 1 return on investment or something like that. It's
All
like,
right. Wow.
yeah, but yeah, so they get the benefit of having somebody with deep expertise around a particular problem. They also get half a day a week of academic time. There's a really clear project plan laid out at the outset, and then the process is kind of managed by Innovate UK and a knowledge transfer advisor. So it's like a really nice way for businesses to do innovation. Like I'm so
Is it like
surprised.
a is it like a short term? Does the graduate like do they become a permanent employee on a full time contract, or is it by definition a fixed term thing engagement for the duration of the KTP? Is it at the end of their studies and it's it hopefully leads to like a job with the SME or the business?
So normally they're 24 months long, and I think there's like some variation in that, but it's a standard project with 24 months long, and the graduate can stay with the business. Often they do stay with the business. Sometimes they don't. So like the Johnson's of Elgin one I had a graduate who was actually based at Strathclyde who knew he really wanted to do a KTP project.
Yeah.
And so he was on the Johnson's KTP, I think it was like 26 months or something. I think it might have been extended slightly. And he's now director in
Oh
Johnson.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
brilliant. So it really helps with recruitment then as well, and for job outcomes for
yeah,
individuals.
yeah,
Good way to bring in innovation then to a business.
yeah, definitely.
Would you ever consider doing one yourself? Do you have to be a business as a certain scale? So you've done it before, like helping foster it, but is it something Defankel could tap into?
I think as soon as I am big enough, I will be looking at doing a KTP. So there's yeah, you've got to have your own premises, so you want to be able to host a company. So there are ways around
Right.
that, like co-working spaces and things. But you have to be able to host an associate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, and then you've got to be able to demonstrate that financially you're stable enough to cover your proportion of
Right.
the funding. Um, so I think normally a team of four is what they look for, like as an absolute minimum. So I think like
Yeah.
just now, employee wise, it's just me at the moment.
Right.
Um, so I think in the future, definitely be looking at KTP. I think
Interesting.
yeah, I think it's nuts that more people don't do them. You should look at it, Mark.
I am not going to lie that there's an agenda to me asking you these questions right now, Abby, and I'm scribbling away notes on some post-its to follow up with you
Yeah,
afterwards because I see them on the Innovate UK website when I'm going on my shopping sprees, as I call it, to look up opportunities for equal engineers. But I've never really, yeah, understood them or like in detail like what they actually are. So um, it's just that like being sure that we can definitely offer a good experience to anyone that takes part in it. You know, the last thing you want is to be successful in securing something, but then not able to live up to what it's touted as. You know.
yeah. So
Um,
the other advance, so the plan's all detailed out at the start. It's got to be strategic. So it's got to like be working on something that is really important to your business.
right.
And then something that you don't have skills for in house and that you probably couldn't just go to a consultancy and get. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so maybe
I've got a gazillion and one ideas
I
floating
bet,
around my brain.
yeah, I bet you have. And then um, the other thing about it is that the application process, it's not like a smart grant where there's like a 5% success rate. If you're going to submit a KTP application, you've got the process looks slightly different. So you've got to work with a knowledge transfer advisor who will take your application and kind of champion it past
Yeah, 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 yeah.
professors. So if you get to the kind of like process of completing a full application, you're probably going to get funded. So like do you know that submitting applications and not getting funded and the frustration around that? Like you're
So
not
frustrating.
investing loads
I
of
know.
effort in something that
We've uh, we've on and off done Innovate UK. We did one. They had like a diversity one a few years ago, and we tried to apply for funding for our neurodiversity network. It was like £50,000 or something. Um, and it was even though we got quite a high score, we still didn't get it. So I guess the threshold's then just so high,
yeah
or there's so many applications that are of such a high quality that then you see a number that's in the high 80s and you're told that you still didn't get it. You're like, oh, right, okay, well, but it's good you get feedback at least, and you're then on to something, and so you can work it through in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, so so that's what you did. So what are you working on now? Like, what's the future for Defanco? Where are you heading now in your entrepreneurial journey?
So yeah, we've gone through a process of doing things like training programs for public sector around innovation. I do coaching for Innovate UK Business Connect, Design for Growth coaching. I do teaching at Strathclyde, so it's quite like coaching and teaching focused. There's also little bits of consultancy in there. Often people will get me in to talk about innovation process, and actually you find out that it's not necessarily the process, it's their culture or their strategy. Um, so help people think through that type of stuff. And I think now I'm at a point where I'm clear about the value that I can offer around that, and how my
Yes.
experience is like really well aligned around that, specifically for engineering and technology companies. So I think my technical background and my experience working in this space really helps. But I think the strategic consultancy and helping people think around about their innovation strategy is where the focus is going to be going forward.
You think we teach innovation properly in engineering at university level?
Oh, well, so yeah, that's interesting. So I do teach it at Strathclyde. I teach it to third years,
Okay.
and I teach it to third years on like part of the core of like specific courses, so it wouldn't be necessarily available across the engineering faculty. But then I teach management of innovation to postgrads.
Okay.
And people from across engineering, so like mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, will come to that class, and I think it blows their mind. It's kind of like I know people from that class will go off into industry with a completely different perspective
Yeah.
from just having done like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. They'll understand the point, like how it all fits together, not just like their single discipline.
Yeah. No, it's they're so I started when I actually after your dinner, the Fanco Innovation dinner that I came to in Glasgow. I was flying back to New York the following day, and when I was at the airport, I picked up. I did my usual buy one get one half price business book, which is why I've got a bookshelf that
Yeah.
looks like yours as well. Um, and one of the books that I picked up, well, I'd already done my buy one get one free pre security. And then when I was through security, I went back into another bookshop and I thought I can't buy anymore. Then I picked up one book and I read a paragraph and I was like, I'm going to get this actually. And I'd never heard of it before, but apparently it's the third most read book in the United States.
Wow.
Um, and the author is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I may not necessarily agree with his politics and background and what have you, but I wanted to read it. And it talks about how we don't get a very good financial education. We're not really taught finance at all.
Yeah.
And this book came out back in the 70s, and he's updated it subsequently, and it's been, it's a book on good financial education, which is why a lot of people have read it or know about it when I've mentioned it. But I've actually bought his two other books that followed subsequently. He's got an entire ecosystem of books now under this Rich Dad brand. But he talks about the ambition for financial freedom, and what I've found through reading it, the cash flow quadrant, which is his second book, so interesting. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner myself, having been an employee and then moved into being a business owner, the way he was talking about everything, assets and liabilities, and how to look at your balance sheet and your income statement and everything like that. I get training. I've had education like that from my accountant, and I know how to do that roughly. But do I properly know how to do it? Do I know how to do it in my personal life and in my professional life? not so much. And, I was reading this even as an entrepreneur running an engineering business now, having done an engineering undergraduate and an engineering doctorate. And I'm thinking, this would have been really useful to have known a while ago. And then I had this thought, I know I'm aware of a few innovation in the title accelerators and programs and initiatives and electives. And then I'm sort of thinking, are they talking about stuff in this way? I don't know. So it's not something I've only just finished reading the books and that. And but it's definitely shifted my mindset as an entrepreneur about how I view things and how I prioritize contracts and how I execute things. And I don't know, it was just pause for thought, thinking about, obviously I'm trying to do all this EDI stuff in the curriculum, and um, I don't think we ever really did innovation properly when I was at Imperial. We did some electives with, at the time, the Tanaka Business School, but it's now the Imperial College Business School. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just,
I think the other way to look at it is the stuff that I teach to the engineering students. So there's only like 40 of them. I don't know how many people graduate from the engineering faculty of Strathclyde each year,
oh,
but it's
hundreds, I'd
way more than
imagine,
40.
thousands
Yeah.
maybe.
There's like
Yeah,
a small fraction of them will have that understanding of innovation management. But when you go out into business, companies don't, and that's like a 12-week module, a couple of hours a week. Like it's not like super intense. This is everything you need to know about innovation. But
yeah,
like even at that level, like businesses just don't. They either don't have an innovation process, they don't understand the importance of culture, they maybe don't even have a really clear strategy that's relevant to what the direction that they're heading in. Like,
yeah,
there's like, yeah, just big gaps. Or if people do have an innovation process, it's probably like a stage gate process. It might not be appropriate for what they're trying to do. Like the cultural stuff around innovation is huge. Like,
yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
yeah, and I think when people think about innovation, they think about tech, and actually, tech
Yes.
is just one type of innovation. There's all sorts of other innovation that you can be involved in or doing that can different ways you can add value to your customers or grow your business. And doing it well is not just about product design or technology development. It's about how that fits with strategy, how you're managing your resources to give you leverage, to give
Yeah,
you competitive advantage, the systems and processes that sit underneath that allow you to deliver that consistently, that will allow you to adapt should you have to adapt,
yeah,
build in resilience. And then it's about the storytelling, so the communication around that stuff. That everybody in the organisation is on the same page. Like innovation's not going to work if people have disjointed views of what it is you're trying to do. So the communication around it is key. And then the culture, like the culture underpins everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
wonder, you're such a fountain of knowledge, and how do you make people realize that thinking about innovation in this way is critical? It's so important. I'm wondering what you could do to help grow your business, um in a, I'm thinking about all my sales training with lead funnels and getting people into your funnel.
Yeah.
We spoke a bit about you yourself using your origin story more as a founder, and getting out there on the stages, and um, I think I think that would be incredible for your business.
Yeah. I think people maybe aren't comfortable with the word innovation as well.
Do you
So I think
think?
it switches some people off, or they have preconceived ideas about what it means and think either they've cracked it or it's not relevant for them. And I think it is relevant for everybody. I think,
Maybe that's your thing then. Maybe that sometimes it's easy to over engineer the message that we think we have to be bringing to the world and overcomplicate it, but actually we need to be simplifying that. I mean, we run an Innovation of the Year award at the Engineering Talent Awards, and my mind goes straight to thinking about the technical things. I think in our in our award description, we clarify that innovation isn't just, a physical thing or an output or a product. It could be an innovative process or a redesign of something, but it usually ends up being some sort of fancy application to a new context that is innovative, that are the things that we see coming through. So maybe yeah, maybe challenging engineers to revisit what innovation means
Yeah, yeah,
is is a big a big a big a big 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 ask, I guess. Big ask.
yeah.
I just realized I haven't actually looked at any of these questions that I'd prepared for you.
Yeah, I feel like is this a podcast? It feels like just a normal chat.
Well, that's that's what I really valued about what you curated at the dinner that we had, because you know you you definitely are a people connector. I wouldn't have met Ian had I not came to your dinner that night, and I got a copy of his book on servitization, and I know I need time to read that and really immerse myself in what it means and how I might be able to benefit from it or adopt it for my business. So it's on my to read list in September. But yeah, you've had such a fusion of people coming to those. I think they're a great way to help build relationships. Is your work um do you work across the UK? Do you work internationally? Do you tend to find you're quite Scotland focused?
Yeah, across the UK, I would say I've not done anything international yet. Like somebody from France bought some of my card sets, but I've not done any international work. I think the first year, lots of my work was in London, and that
Yeah.
was actually quite hard with Ada being so small. So I think although I'm keen to keep that UK work, I'm also a bit more focused on looking for local work and
Yes.
building local relationships.
Tell us about your cards. Yes, we haven't spoken about them. Tell us about your card sets.
So that was maybe, yeah, that I guess that was like maybe part of how we met at Royal Academy of Engineering. I don't know, it was so
It
I was
was,
asked to
yes.
run a workshop on inclusive innovation when they had a kind of like conference event launching Culture Plus. So it was
Yes.
with Innovate UK and Royal Academy of Engineering. I think Ada was brand new as well, so it was like still very early days. I think I'd maybe started in the May and the event might have been in September. So I kind of like thought if I'm going to run a workshop on inclusive innovation, I need to like be, it was inclusive design, sorry. So it was like
Yes.
yeah, I was like, I need to be like super prepared. So I made this card set to run the workshop. And then even like being so like over prepared, like in the morning in the hotel, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I could just like pull a sickie or like, I had to really force myself to go. Like I was so nervous. I don't think I've ever been so nervous, but I think that was just like the
It was great. It was
being new.
really good. I loved it.
Yeah, like it did go well. Like people enjoyed the card set. Like people were asking if they could buy the card set, which like kind of took me back a little bit. And I think like I guess the other thing was that everybody in the room was an inclusive design or like an engineer who was
Yes.
into inclusion. So
Interested.
you were like it wasn't like a basic level audience, like, but I felt like everybody in the room got value from it. So I felt like actually I'm onto something here. Like this is interesting and valuable. And like I had done work previously at Innovate on like inclusion, inclusive engineering, inclusive design, and like thinking about that like in systemic terms rather than just thinking about like the HR angle or the physical product angle, but
Yeah.
thinking about like how all these things interconnect and like how one exacerbates the other. Um, yeah, so like yeah, developed a little card set and then people wanted to buy them, so I've sold not millions, like I'm not going to retire on it, but like I've sold a few, like people
And are they still available? Can
they're
people
still
still get their
available on my
hands on them
website, yeah.
on
And
your
then
website?
yeah, I guess like based on that, I developed another few card sets to help me with teaching and to help me with the website. I feel like it's just quite a they've been useful tools for like running things and stimulating thinking and giving
How,
some people
how do
some.
you, I've never used a card set. How do you use a card set? Are they like a teaching tool that help give prompts or something in a
Yes,
workshop?
prompty. So I think they work. The one that works best is probably the inclusive innovation one. I think because it's a topic that people maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable with. So you've got like you've got something tangible to hold, which I think always helps.
Yes.
Something to kind of like refer to or like a bit of a crutch. But and it like when you the discussion could go so many ways, or there's so much that could be talked about. It it means that people have got like a lot of information that they can take away or they can kind of filter through it, or rather than dictating what people have got to talk about,
Right.
they can kind of like land on what they're drawn to.
They've got choices
They've
as
got
well
choices, yeah, that's a much
because,
more succinct way of describing it.
well, it's well, you've got a toddler as well. You've got a young person in your life. Like when you give choices, it just diffuses so many arguments rather than coming at it like this is what you have to talk about. I don't want to talk about that. If you say, well, these are the things you can talk about that are listed on this card set, take it as you go and see what creativity you come up with. People are happy and they feel like they've got some control, but they're not fully, you know, because sometimes if you leave it too wide as a facilitator, people don't kind of catch wind of where you're wanting them to go.
Yeah,
So it's a way to kind of guide them as well, isn't it? Like guardrails almost
yeah.
for the conversation.
Yeah, so you can structure it in different ways. So normally I get people to choose a case study. So there's like a set of cards with case studies, and then there's a set of cards with like tools and methods. So then I
Oh,
get people
cool.
to say, okay, what could have been done in these scenarios that would have like helped better design in this situation, or has been used for good, could have been used for good design in this
That's
situation.
that's interesting. So you have one set of cards that are like case studies, one set of cards that are tools and methods, and literally you could have like any combination of application of the tools and methods to the different case studies, the case study deck.
Yeah, well, but so some of the case studies you could use a whole range of methods, and then some of them it's clear
Uh-huh.
that actually this method should have been prioritized.
Uh-huh.
So like, one example that comes up all the time is representative data.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that probably could be used across every single case study. Um, yeah, and then
Making sure you've got data that reflects the application of the
yeah,
service or technology that's being considered or designed.
yeah, and then there's a little at the end. There's like a little. I think there's like 10 prompt cards that just like get people reflecting on their own practice or their own organisations and what could be a little bit different.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you use these in your university lectures in your training with the students?
Yeah, I use them in lectures. I use them, yeah. I run that same workshop a lot, a lot, yeah.
That your bestseller, I've always met if you're on Dragon's Den and you're pitching in front of Deborah Meaden and everyone, and Deborah says, "What's your bestseller?" Is it that workshop that's your go-to?
That's probably the workshop that I've delivered the most, yeah,
Got you. Got you.
yeah.
Okay, quick fire question rounds. Are
Okay,
you
here we go.
you ready? Right. What's the best piece of innovation advice you've ever received?
Um, I think maybe the concept that sometimes doing nothing is worse. Like sometimes just taking action, just going for it. Sometimes the biggest risk is not doing anything. So just like
Do
do
something.
something. And then I think, yeah, I guess related to that, like the not over preparing, just like putting something out there and like testing it and going for it and like taking the leap, taking the leap.
What's one project you're especially proud of?
Probably my PhD. That's an easy one to answer. Probably, yeah, my it was an engineering doctorate. It wasn't a PhD, but that probably.
Coffee, tea, or something more creative?
Um, Coffee probably. I'm just getting into iced coffee.
Oh, nice. With some sugar-free vanilla syrup. My
Yeah,
favorite.
I'm actually going for sugar-free caramel syrup.
Oh, caramel. Caramel. That just as nice, just as nice.
That is very good.
What's one skill every systems thinker should develop?
Empathy.
What's a book or resource you always recommend?
Oh, The Authority Gap. It's a book by a lady called Marianne Steiger, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a brilliant, brilliant book.
Yes. I remember you mentioning it.
Yeah, it's probably my most recommended book.
The Authority Gap. What's your go-to way to recharge creatively?
Probably wild swimming or cooking, potentially.
What's one tool or method you think more leaders should use?
Probably something really basic like empathy maps or customer journey maps, and I think not just with like their external customers, but thinking about the experience of internal people in their organisation as well.
Who's a thinker or designer that inspires you?
Oh, Danella Meadows, so she's like a systems thinker.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Not seen their work.
just like systems dynamics kind of stuff, like, and then I guess like another systems dynamics person would be John Sterman from MIT. Like yeah, Danella Meadows, like if you watch her lectures online, some of them are like in black and white and really old, but she's just got a really nice style, like such a clear way of thinking and communicating. And then a more up to date localish person, somebody like Indy Yohar, who's like another one of the design council experts, but he's an architect and systems thinker. And he's just again like just real clear and deep ways of thinking about things from a systems point of view.
What's something about innovation that people often get wrong?
I guess what we were chatting about, that it's about technology. There's just tech or products, and actually it's more than that.
Finally, what advice would you give your younger self starting out in engineering?
Um, I think I'd want myself to be more confident. Like, just don't doubt yourself so much. Just, I don't know. Like, just it's going to be all right. Like,
Yeah, you've got it. You've got it. You can do
logic.
it.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. And you are doing it. You've had a highly successful career. Amazing. That I've learned a lot about innovation. You've challenged me a bit more about my thinking. I'm definitely one of those people that still go to my bias thinking that it's about something physical when actually it can be so much more. We had a team day at Eco Engineers last week, 2 days actually, and I think there are even some things from that I can evolve the thinking on a bit more deeply in terms of how we could maybe be more innovative with in terms of our processes and how we work as a team. So I will keep that front of mind. If people want to get in touch with you, Abby, if they think, maybe you could support them, if Defanco could do some project work, or I think you're looking at more some consulting practice application opportunities, how do people get in touch with you and find out about what you offer?
So Abby at defanco.com, or they could find me on LinkedIn or the website, which is just about to be updated. So, but yeah, there's a contact page on the website. But LinkedIn or just emailing me, just Abby
Fabulous.
at Defanco.
Perfect. We'll put all those links in the show notes as well. Thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed the catch up.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, Mark. It was brilliant. Need to catch up more often.
Definitely, definitely. Speak to you later.
See you soon. Cheers. Bye.
You have been listening to the Safe Leader podcast, uncovering the diversity story behind leading figures championing change to make our world a better place. If you have enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to the Safe Leader podcast on your podcast platform of choice and get notified when a new episode goes live. Did you know that we also offer a full transcript on each of our podcast episodes? Check out my website, markmcbridewright.com. Here, you can also explore the training, coaching, and keynote speaking services I offer. And whilst you're there, why not join the Safe Leader community by subscribing to the Safe Leader Insights mailing list? Thank you for listening, and please come back and join us on a future episode.